Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining me for this week's episode of When I Grow Up. On today's episode, it is my pleasure to welcome my guest, Sylvia Kim Park. Hey Sylvia, how are you?
Hi Blair, how are you?
I'm great. Man, we were just talking, it's been literally so many years since we've chatted.
Yes.
How have you been?
We've always had a connection, so.
Yes. Well, I feel like even before we started recording that, literally I feel like we're picking up right where we left off. Sylvia and I met years ago under very random circumstances, I feel like.
Church, but I would say?
What'd you say?
With church, maybe?
Yeah, I think it was with church or some sort of ministry.
Yes.
But all in all, I feel like even then, we grew close in such a short amount of time, and I'm so sorry that we haven't talked in years.
Oh, it's fine. We have kindred spirits.
Yes, exactly. Well, Sylvia is here to talk about her job, and that is a real estate agent, right?
Yes, I am. So I'm a realtor. I'm a licensed real estate agent working with Atlanta Fine Homes, Sotheby's International Realty, and I help and guide clients buy or sell residential properties in the metro Atlanta area.
Amazing. So I literally know zero things about real estate. And all I know is that buying my house was maybe one of the hardest things we've ever done, honestly. My husband, I told you, is 4 years younger than me, and he's also not American. So but he's really take charge person, and he took care of everything. But I think it was he literally was so lost, and without our real estate agent, I don't know. I don't know. And so thankfully, God provided this house for us and everything went well, but it was very stressful. So I can't imagine what you've been going through the last year and a half.
Yes, it's been crazy. So it's interesting because there's a lot of stereotypes of realtors and real estate agents. I think a lot of it is glamorized by certain TV shows like Selling Sunset.
Yes.
Some people think it's not really a profession, and some people think Zillow is more accurate than real estate agents or realtors. And honestly, with our job, we really wear many hats, but our main practice of business focuses on being a listing or selling agent or a buying agent. So just like your former agent, we either help people buy a home or we help people sell their home. So that's kind of our main premise of business. And it really entails a lot in terms of negotiating contracts, communicating, just really representing our clients to the best way we can so that we can make this overwhelming process of home buying a little bit smoother and as less stressful as it can be, because it can be very, very overwhelming.
So what does a typical day for you look like then?
Yeah, so every day is very different, which is nice. But it really consists of, so it depends if you are either the selling agent or a buying agent, because we represent both. If we were a selling agent, we would go to your house, we would stage, we would tell you which furnitures to just get rid of to simplify the home, arrange photography, to videography, anything to get your home ready for market. And then we do everything from the whole sales process of listing the market or listing the home live and dealing with the right buyers and showings for that home. And then once offers come in, we start the negotiation process with the other buyers. And then we pretty much do everything from start to finish of preparing your home to the market to closing your home and finishing the transaction from there. And then if we were to be on the buying agent side, we represent the buyers and help them with the search of homes. We help them look for homes. We help them show homes. We help them write offers. We help also schedule inspections. So we wear an array of hats for different roles, but it's fun because every day is different. Every home is different. There's no home that is alike, and every client is different. So
Right.
you don't get the same thing every single day. So you have to be, up for the challenge and be very open-minded too.
Right. No, I mean, I feel like you talking about everything, I'm just so impressed, and I also feel a little stressed because I'm
Yes.
because I'm like, wow, like, I mean, again, like for me, buying our home, it wasn't like the best experience, not
Mhm.
because of our agent or anything. It was just a really, finances, everything,
Yes.
negotiating. Are we going to
Yes.
get it? Are we not going to, is our loan going to pass through? Things like so many things to think about that I'm sure
Yes.
you too, as you're rooting for your client, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So
So
it's tough because I think these days with a lot of third-party real estate websites like Zillow, a lot of
yes,
people think they can purchase a home in this market without representation, without an agent. And
interesting.
oftentimes it really causes buyer burnout because they get overbidded. There's multiple offer situations. They can't get an inside of what's going on. And so it's really, really difficult. And a buyer has a huge disadvantage not having representation by an agent because
Mm,
other agents with other clients with agents, most of the time will be able to close on a deal of a home versus a buyer who's not represented by an agent.
I see. So there are people that put in offers like just through Zillow. I don't know how that works.
Yes. So a lot of people use Zillow kind of like social media these
They
days.
do, yes. I mean,
Yes.
even David and I, we will
Yes.
scroll through sometimes.
Yes, exactly. So
Yeah.
they're constantly scrolling through homes, and a lot of people who feel like they don't need an agent, they'll, contact the listing agent and, say, we're interested, we'd like to submit an offer. And then oftentimes that other agent might have to write an offer on behalf of them because we're writing
Oh,
actual legal contracts. And so it's just not an easy purchase where you can go and buy a home like a store, like an item in the
right,
store.
right.
And so there's a legal process. There are just steps, multiple steps that you have to do. You have to be pre-qualified as a buyer. You
Mm-hmm.
need to be pre-approved, in terms of your finances. All of like there's so many different I guess things that need to come together
Right,
for a successful transaction for a home to be closed on.
right.
And a lot of people don't realize that.
Okay, so how does one become a real estate agent?
So with real estate, you don't really need a college degree. You just
Okay.
need to take post-license courses depending on the state, and it gives you like the hours.
Uh-huh.
And then you do have to pass a state and like a national like test, and then you become a real estate agent. So you do have to go through some courses and testing and pass to
Uh-huh.
actually become a real estate agent.
Okay.
And then after that, a lot of people recommend for you to work under a brokerage, which is kind of like a company that helps you a lot.
Okay.
You have ethics, you have certain things that a lot of things can go wrong in a real estate transaction. So working for a brokerage company gives you representation. It gives you just a professional background. So
Hmm.
different brokerages, it can be anything like Keller Williams, Remax. My company is Atlanta Fine Home Sotheby's International Realty, and
Mhm.
so what's nice about my company is we're a global company, and so
Mm.
they give us a lot of training, a lot of marketing, and so it was really good to start my real estate career with a company like Sotheby's.
So does it like do you have to apply to these brokerages or
Yes, you do.
okay.
You do have to apply for these brokerages. You interview. It's kind of like a job position, and so you, as an agent, if you aren't working under a brokerage, there's a huge liability on your end. And so the brokerages really help with just to make sure everything goes professionally, everything is legal, everything is not done incorrectly. So it's
Gotcha.
great to be working under a brokerage.
Okay, that makes sense. Like, so the test that you have to take in order to get your licensing,
Yes.
like, I've had friends that have taken it, but have also explained to me that they're very challenging.
Very difficult. Very difficult. And so it's challenging because it encompasses a lot. It
I see.
encompasses not only real estate, but it encompasses state laws. It encompasses just practices where you can't discriminate, based on age or woman or sex or that kind of stuff. So you have to know not only real estate, you have to know some legal terms, you have to know contracts, you have to know multiple facets. And so it's not the easiest exam, but it is definitely something that is possible.
So, like,
I got it, so.
Are there classes? Because, like, I don't
Yes.
think I could study this.
Yes, there's classes. So you have
Okay.
to take a post-licensure class.
Okay.
For Georgia, I think it's 60 hours. And they kind of pretty much go through all the things that you kind of need to know in terms of real estate, the legal language, the laws, all that kind of stuff. And so they kind of help you with that. But it's not really until you work under your brokerage that you really get a professional training and you really get your feet wet with what really it takes to be in real estate.
I see. Okay. So I don't actually normally ask this question, Sylvia, and I hope it's okay that I ask it, but how does a real estate agent make money?
So we are all commission based.
Okay.
And so we only get paid after a closing. So up until that point that you close a home, we don't get paid. And so everything else, we kind of treat ourselves as like our own business owners. And so we don't get W-2s. We most likely get 1099 independent contractors. We have to pay for our own taxes and all of that. And so everything comes out of pocket. And we only get paid when we close on the home.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. And then, you really want to work for your client at that point, I guess.
You do. But I think that's where real estate is key in relationships. There's so many relationships or even real estate transactions that go wrong. And it really jeopardizes so much. Real estate isn't a short-term gain. It's a long-term I guess it's a long relationship. It's not like a short thing at all. And it's, if we can't provide that service where the buyer or the seller didn't have a great experience for us, then we're losing out on competition later on. Yeah. And so for us, we're really about service and really establishing that trust too, because it's someone's biggest investment. It's a lot of stress, like you said previously. It's a lot of emotional stress. It's financial stress. And so if we can't manage that stress and we can't prove our trustworthiness to our clients, then our business is over. And so being that it is a fully 100% commission-based job, if you don't have good relationships or if you don't have clients, you can't survive as a realtor in this business.
No, that makes sense. And I the word that you used was trust and trustworthy. And that speaks to any relationship, but I feel like when it comes to real estate and dealing with money and like all these things, like life decisions, like that you have to commit to, like it's so important. And even in the long game that you're talking about, like the long relationship game, I guess, my real estate agent still like sends me gifts every year, like to remind me that she's still there and that she's still, and I actually really appreciate it. I'm like, wow, like, and we run into each other because she lives in the area at like Target and stuff. And I'm like shocked, like that she remembers my name.
Yes.
Like super shocked because I'm like, it's been years. How do you even know who I am? Like, but so much respect for agents, seriously. Well, I want to ask you some more questions about your job, but before I do, I really want to know, like, what brought you to being a real estate agent? Like, can you take me even like as like far back? Just really far.
So what's interesting for many others, their careers may be in like a specific trade or specialization, which is awesome for them. But my career has actually taken me down many different paths, which has given me a variety of skill sets and has led me to now being a real estate agent today. These experiences actually in diverse careers, I would say can be relatable to kind of like a transitional hallway.
Okay.
I guess I like to think of like these transitional hallways as like those spaces we walk through after one door closes and we move towards the next doorway of opportunity. And sometimes these transitional spaces come and go quickly, and other times they feel like they're never ending, but eventually they take you on a journey to where you should be. And ultimately, I think I'm in the real estate industry today due to all of my past transitional hallways with the help of meeting key people at the right time. And it's really given me versatility and adaptability, kind of like a Swiss Army knife. I wasn't like learning to be like this like small knife, but more of like a multi-tool. That with, I guess, like learning various methods for dealing with many different situations. So it's very interesting how everything has kind of turned out to now me being a real estate agent. But I guess as a background for me, in all fairness, when I was young, I didn't imagine a career in real estate. My journey to being a realtor is really a combination of twists and turns and all sorts of different ways and unusual ways of how I got to where I am today. But I was actually raised in Georgia by immigrant parents, and they were in the dry cleaning business. So they would drive all over Georgia, find a place like a commercial real estate, and build and establish and flip dry cleaners. So
really?
That's kind of the background that I grew up in. And so my dad was
Is that normal? Like for people to do that? No, right? That's the first time I've ever heard that before.
No, but I think my parents were just entrepreneurs.
Right. So, that's crazy to me.
Yeah. So like I think most people like think dry cleaning business as like, oh, my parents just own one. But my parents were unique because they were flipping dry cleaners. So they would drive all over Georgia and then build the dry cleaning business and then would sell it. So they kind of did that when we were young. And my dad was very hardworking. He had great social skills and was amazing at customer service. And then my mom's strength was, surprisingly, she was great at marketing and like designing the stores.
Oh, wow.
And so a good portion of my childhood was me and my sister in the car driving around to places all over Georgia, but also looking at potential commercial real estate. And then we had to paint the stores to get the store ready. We had to stuff envelopes like at night for marketing their stores. So a lot of that was like kind of instilled in me, like at a young age, to really be interested in business. And so, and I think for me, my parents were always kind of that mentality, hey, you have to pave your own way. No one can pave your way for you. And so you have to do it. And so it was always kind of like, oh, I've always had that like hustler mentality, kind of like, I got to go and do it, because who else is going to do it for me? And so yeah, so that was kind of like my background and my parents. And I think, at a young age and having Asian parents, they aspire for all of us to be doctors and lawyers. But I definitely didn't have the grades or excelled in math or
Mm.
science. But I really loved creative arts. And so, junior year of high school, I was introduced to art and I really fell in love with it. I loved how art allowed me to freely express and really taught me how creative thinking really unleashes the potential like of the our minds to conceive new ideas.
Yeah.
So, I met my art teacher and um, we had a plan for me to go to art school for college. And so I applied to, I would say, three schools, and then ended up going to Parsons School of Design, which
Oh,
is a school in New
wow.
York. And so, um, yeah, it's interesting because Parsons is known for fashion, for graphic design. And so most people who graduate from an art school or art college, they usually graduate with a bachelor in fine arts. But Parsons had a business program where
Mm.
it was a bachelor's degree in business specializing in design and management.
Oh,
So it kind
wow.
of combines the creativity side and the business side. And so it was really something that I was like, oh, I could really relate to doing something like this. I wanted to
Mhm.
get into like fashion business and
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
all that kind of stuff. So I decided to go the design and management route, which was nice because they really taught us in school how to be the middleman between creatives and business people. Because
Mm.
creatives are like, you don't know anything about design. Business people are like, you don't know anything about business, but we go in as the middlemen and we're like, well, we have training in both and we can kind of meet in the middle and help both sides. So both the creative and the design side.
That's really
So
cool.
yeah, so I graduated from Parsons with a business degree. And then for me, I was like, okay, I'm going to go the whole fashion business route. And then even had a job lined up at a luxury menswear company called Ermena Gildo Zenya. It's like they make really nice suits. And
Ooh.
so I was I was going to take that marketing job, but then a couple of my friends had gone to YWAM. It's like this short-term missions program, and they dramatically changed. But I was just like very curious because I was like, I'm going to be working the rest of my life. The only time for me to actually try something like this is now, like right in
Mm.
between college and starting a new job. So I applied to Youth with a Mission and I ended up doing my short term missions program out in Perth, Australia.
I did
And
not know that.
yeah, and that's
Wow.
where I really gained my faith and established my relationship with God beyond the walls of church.
Mm.
And after I came back, I started working for some fashion boutiques, doing sales, managing them. And then a friend of mine was saying that there was a LA fashion company that was in town that were needing some help. And so I applied. It was like a temporary gig, and they're like, "Hey, we're here a couple of times during the year. When we're here, do you mind working for us?" And I was like, "Actually, I'm thinking about going to LA. Just because the fashion industry is very strong in the LA
Sure, yeah.
community." And so they were like, "Oh, well, if you're planning on coming to LA, why don't you interview with us?" So I was like, okay. So I interviewed, and then I got hired as a sales manager. They are a fashion manufacturing company. And so I got hired out in LA for a sales manager. I didn't know anybody really. I probably had like 5 people
Oh
that I
my
knew.
goodness.
So I packed my bags and just booked a one-way ticket. I didn't even know where I was going to live, but um, just the right people has always kind of helped me out. And so, um, yeah,
Oh
and
my
so
gosh,
I was,
the planner in me is like freaking out. Like you're
yeah.
saying you just left and with no plan?
So So the only thing I had going was I had a job. I had
Right.
paycheck coming
I
in.
guess that's enough.
But I didn't have a place to live, so I
Oh
was
my gosh,
pretty
Sylvia.
much like jumping every week. But it's like, for me, there was something inside where I was like, I know I can do this and everything's going to
Yeah.
work out. And surprisingly, I am a planner like you, but
Uh-huh.
there was something within me that I was like, I've got to do this and I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be taken care of. And so I was in the fashion manufacturing as a sales manager. And then eventually I became the director of sales in this company. And we pretty much handled all of our US accounts. So what's interesting is me being the director of sales, not only did I have to work with our creative team, but we also had to work with our executives
Oh,
to make
yeah.
sure everything's growing, we have a business. And so with some of our designers, we had to tell them, hey, can you tweak this so we could sell this better? And then to our executives, I had to help them understand certain things that these designers were trying to push, even though they couldn't understand it. So
Yeah.
kind of came full circle, which was great. I really enjoyed it and was able to work with a lot of business owners. And so it was great because they would tell me, especially like in the South, they would tell me, my Southern customers would be like, Sylvia, during like August to October, we do this thing called game day. And can you make some dresses that are specific colors to game day? And
Yeah.
so people out in LA are like, really? But
Oh
it's
no.
huge in the South, the
Yeah.
football
It's
culture.
like
And
money
so,
maker.
yes. And so we had to come up with certain colors. Like, for example, Georgia had to be red and black.
Right.
Auburn had to be blue and orange, but had to be specific colors.
Right.
And I had to tell the designers, hey, I need this dress, in these two colorways only. And I guarantee we will sell out, but we can only sell it at a specific time frame because, that's the only season that these people want these colored dresses.
Yeah.
And so it was nice because I was not only able to work hand in hand with the creative design team, but also our execs were like, what are you doing? Why are you creating these custom dresses for the South for a specific time frame? It's not even for a season.
Right.
And I just had to tell them and had to educate them. Well, in the South, they college football is a very big thing. And a lot of them like to wear their school colors. And if we can come up with dresses or if we can come up with, tops, but dresses was easy because it's just a one piece outfit.
Yeah.
And so
that is brilliant. Oh my gosh.
So they had to learn. They couldn't understand why the South was buying these specific colored dresses at a specific month and it's not a complete season. And so it was a hit. So we were one of the first brands to introduce game day apparel to a lot of these boutiques. So these boutiques could, start selling game day dresses specifically only to August and October.
That is amazing. Like, I'm like so shocked right now because
really?
No, because like if it makes so much sense. Yeah, if you don't know the culture here, you wouldn't know that that's even a thing. But if you were able to, like you did, implement this, like so much money.
Yes, but also it's because I had that relationship with our customers. They were telling me what they needed. And I was like, if you tell me what you need, I can try to help you. And so it was a combination of creating fashion pieces, but also a business as well.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it, but I was kind of like capped out. I was at a point where I was like, do I just keep jumping other companies and make the same salary, or do I just create my own and actually make more?
Yeah.
And then I was just kind of thinking, I was like, I don't know if I really want to create my own company or keep jumping around. But then I had heard that medical sales make great money. So I was like, I want to try medical sales.
Oh my goodness.
So I went from fashion industry and then I linked up with some people who were in the medical sales industry. And I was just curious because I don't have any medical background. I don't have any of that. And so I was just told that medical sales is great, and so it's
Uh-huh.
very lucrative industry. So I was like, okay, let me try it.
Uh-huh.
And then I got into a medical device company that sold orthotics and prosthetics, so artificial limbs and like braces, back
Okay.
braces, and all that. So I went from being in the fashion industry, working with business owners, to now working with patients who have gone through a crazy surgery, an
Mm.
amputation, and
Mhm.
also dealing with surgeons.
Mhm.
And so I think I was like crying every week because I couldn't
Mhm.
understand like all this lingo that they were throwing on me. They
Ah.
were throwing on me medical lingo. They were throwing just all these things that were so new to me, but I
Mhm.
couldn't act like I'm new to this industry. I had
Right.
to own it. I was calling um, doctor friends. I was calling my sister. I was
That's
like,
right.
what does this terminology mean? And then they would have like little shortcuts. They would say, like, if it was like a below knee amputation, they would
Uh-huh.
say it's a BK, which is below knee. I had no idea. And
Oh
so,
gosh.
like, all these just like, terminologies, these shortened words that they use medically, it was hard, but it was so rewarding because it really helped me grow thick skin. And I mean, I was dealing with patients who, they're hurting. They're
Yeah.
hurting, and learning to have a heart for them, but also learning to work with doctors.
Right,
And
right.
so that
So,
was very interesting.
sorry. So, as someone that works in like medical sales, does that mean you're just the middleman between the patient and the doctor, or how does
Yes.
that work?
So oftentimes, a doctor will prescribe, whether it's medication or back braces or whatever it is, they'll prescribe it. And
Okay.
so we, being the medical supplier, we would supply that to the patient.
Okay. Okay.
So it's really building relationships with doctors so that they can
Mm,
prescribe you, hey, like if you're going to get a back brace, use this company.
I see. I
It's kind
see.
of like a
Gotcha.
referral.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
And so, yeah, so I did that for about a year and a half. And then we had some personal situations come up where I had to move back to Atlanta.
Mm, mhm.
And so I thought, well, if I move to Atlanta, I can easily do medical sales anywhere because
Mhm.
it's not like it's fashion where it's a
Mhm.
select city that specializes in it. And so I figured with medical sales, I can do that anywhere. So
Mm.
I was like, I moved back to Atlanta, and then I was interviewing and applying for medical companies, and I wasn't getting anything. And I was like, this is so weird. It's
What?
like it's weird that I'm not getting anything. Like, not that I don't have experience. I mean, granted, it was in a different state. So some of these other companies like for you to be for you to have referrals, for you to have contacts of other
Mm.
doctors. But because I don't know if it was because I was in a different state, I don't know, but I wasn't getting anything. So um, someone told me that Louis Vuitton was hiring. So I was like, Louis Vuitton. And so, coming from a fashion school, Louis Vuitton is like a luxury brand. And I was like, I've never sold luxury brand products, but I was like, why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah. Oh
So
my gosh, you're so funny.
I know. So that's
In
what
the
I was
best way
saying.
possible, by the way.
No,
It's
but
a
that's what I'm saying.
compliment.
It's not the most conventional way at all of where I'm at today.
I love it though. I love it.
So I got a job at Louis Vuitton at Lenox Mall, and
Uh-huh.
I was selling luxury handbags, and I actually had fun. It was a lot of fun. And then I actually ended up. I kind of knew this was just like a temporary thing
Uh-huh.
until
Uh-huh.
I was able to find my next medical sales job.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
I had actually run into one of my old managers that I had worked with at a fashion boutique that in Atlanta before
Uh,
I left. And she was like, we worked really well together. And she was shopping at Louis Vuitton, and she was like, hey, she's like, we met up with for some coffee, and she's like, hey, how do you like working at Louis Vuitton? And I was like, I like it, but it's temporary.
yeah.
And then she was like, well, I'm in real estate and I have been doing it for 8 years. And she was like, I really love it. I enjoy it. And she was like, what if you're interested, I'll train you and you can learn real estate. And so I was like, okay, like I mean, I went from fashion to medical devices and luxury goods. And I was like, I could do homes, I could totally do homes. And so yeah, so she trained me, and I'm thankful that she was able to train me, and I'm still part of her team now. So it's a team of 3,
Oh,
and
wow.
now
Oh,
we
what
do
does that
real
mean,
estate.
a team?
So most real estate agents, a lot of them are individually on their own, or
Okay.
some of them are on a team. So
Okay.
like me, I'm on a team, so we um, we do we kind of split 3 ways. So
Okay.
like
Okay.
everything in terms of staging, or we don't really split clients,
Uh-huh.
but we kind of all work like as a team. So if I'm meeting a new client, I oftentimes bring 2 of my other partners as
Okay.
well.
Okay. So
And
that, I
so
mean, basically it's just like you guys are working together, I guess,
yes,
to.
yes. So we work together, and what's great is for us is we get more volume together because it's 3,
Uh-huh.
whereas just one real estate agent, it's a lot harder to do everything. Whereas for us, we can do a lot more because we
Sure.
have more hands
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah.
So we can help fill in, do showings,
Ah,
do open houses together instead of one person doing everything all on their own.
yeah, such
So
hard work, I can feel like.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
So that's kind of what led me to real estate. And I love it because literally from all of my, even though all of my sales experiences were very different, it
Mm-hmm.
really taught me how to work with all kinds of people.
Right.
And real estate, we work with all kinds of people. And
Right.
so um, it really, I think the medical sales, or even my company in the fashion industry, it was really about, for me, it's always been like, how could I help them? Whether it's a business
Mm,
owner, or it was a patient who's needing a prosthetic, or a doctor who's needing a service,
mm,
or um, a luxury bag, or
yeah.
even now to home. It wasn't really like, for me, even though I was in sales, it was never about selling. It was always about helping, and I enjoyed it.
Mm.
And so, yeah, it's very interesting that everything kind of came full in circle, and now I'm that Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. I completely agree. I'm listening to every part of your story and I'm like, um, truly, I mean, I know the feeling as well, this feeling of like your life being set up for where you are today. And
Yes,
it just sounds like that. But more than that, Sylvia, like I'm noticing like the biggest, because I was going to ask you, oh, like as a real estate agent, what do you feel like, the, like some of the what makes a good real estate agent?
yeah,
But honestly, like as you're talking, I feel like the big piece that you've mentioned a couple times is like being relational with
yes.
people.
You have to be.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
I mean, I will say you might like hate this, I don't know, but like for me, even when I met you for the first time, the reason we got along is because um the way you talk to people in particular, I feel like is so like genuine and like very like you really, yeah, like you said, you want to somehow serve and help the person that you're talking to, and you can feel it right away. It's like so
Oh, thank
honest.
you.
Yeah, of course. And like that's why I think that's why we got along, because how can I not get along with somebody that wants to like genuinely know who I am and
Right.
like wants to see how they can help me. And so it just sounds like throughout everything, even like your very first, like not your very first job, but the job in LA too that you
Yes.
went to and became director of sales, like I'm assuming that doesn't happen just like that, you have to work hard, and
Yes.
also it's relational. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
It
so it makes complete sense. All of it. I'm like, yeah, that's Sylvia.
Thank you. Someone told me that great salespeople are relationship builders who provide value and help their customers win. When my customers win, or I feel like they win, or they're like so happy, it makes me so happy. Like, I'm so excited, and I'm like, just to help them be part of that process of winning. It's just, it really excites me, and I think that's what continues to draws me to the wholesale sector. And so I just enjoy seeing people win.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so good. I love that. Well, again, do you have anything to add to that? Like, so I asked, what do you think makes a good real estate agent? Like, if someone is sitting here, maybe they're in the same situation as you, like kind of like in between jobs.
Yeah.
And I will say, I do feel like a lot of people my age do in some ways, this is going to sound bad, but I don't mean it this way, like kind of resort to being a real estate agent, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like, I feel like these days I've seen that kind of trend.
Yes. Like, everyone's a real estate agent.
Yeah, like some people make it and some people don't. Could you just be blunt for a few minutes about what's going to put you above the rest? What makes a good real estate agent?
Yeah. I mean, I think you need to absolutely be relational, but you need to be a strong negotiator. You need to also have very good communication skills too. And also, you need to learn stress management, because it's very easy to be stressed out. And if you as an agent can't manage the stress and you show it, then your clients get stressed out, and it gets very emotional. So there's just a lot of social skills too that you really need, but also you need to be an entrepreneur, because we wear so many hats. We have to do marketing. We have to, just because we are like, we're not paid a salary or anything like that. We earn through fully commission based. So if you don't market yourself, if you don't have sales tech like background, if you don't even have tenacity, if you don't have versatility and adaptability, it's very, very difficult, because not every day is the same for us. Not every client is the same. And so, you really have to be open-minded, but also, I think also not being trapped by fear, and more so saying, you know what, I can do this. If other people can do it, how can you do it differently? And it's having that courage to just do it, even if it makes you uncomfortable. And so I think, for me, I'm not a quitter. And I think I like seeing other people win. I like seeing even how hot the real estate market is in Atlanta. It's a challenge, but I think, just to have that grit and understanding that this is a big purchase. It's a very stressful time for a lot of people. A lot more people say it's a very stressful time than an enjoyable time. And I think if I can help to alleviate the stress and make it a little bit better, I think I can be in this for the long run.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, all those things that you said, I think is like super great advice for those that want to be agents, but also just life advice.
Yes.
Because me too, I'm like, man, I think that piece that you mentioned about just like eliminating that fear, I repeat it over and over again in this podcast, but like, that's my hope, in providing people stories of other people's lives to maybe eliminate the fear a little bit of the unknown. And what you said just now makes a lot of sense. Even for myself, I'm like, yes, like I don't like change, and also I'm like very afraid of messing up and like doing it wrong, or like learning new things and not being good at it. But I think what you just said, being open-minded, just making a decision and going for it, is sometimes is all you need, really, man, that's so good. Okay, sorry, last thing. I usually ask people for advice when we come to a close, and I'll ask you that. But I did want to ask you, like, about the last year and a half on the market. Like, not technically, but just like emotionally, even for a real estate agent. Like, how has that been? Because even me watching it, like just my friends selling their homes and then them trying to find a home and then there are no homes. Like, how has that been for you? Like, you mentioned stress management too. Like, what do you do, and like, how do you handle all this?
So I got into real estate at the end of 2018, which was right before the pandemic. And the pandemic surprisingly blew up the real estate market in Atlanta. Our interest rates were an all-time low. And so a lot of people were able to get more house for their dollar. And recently, so we went through a period where there was an inventory shortage. Everybody was wanting to buy and buy and buy. And if you were a seller, if you listed your home would sell instantly if it was priced right. And it became a seller's market. So buyers were kind of at a disadvantage where they couldn't really negotiate much. They had to pretty much give what a seller wanted. And to be competitive with multiple offers, you really had to kind of let go of any kind of upper hand or negotiation as a buyer. So it was tough because buyers were faced with in a market of low inventory, but also a hot market where everybody's buying. So they were oftentimes, outbidded by multiple people. We had homes list 100,000 more, 150,000 more than the list price. So it was very, very interesting. And I think in the beginning times, it wasn't like this. And then it became crazy. And then now the market is opening up a little bit, and then interest rates have gone up too. So for us, even though we're not lenders, we work closely with many resources, whether it is a lender, just to make sure the finances are all in check, just to make sure inspection, like we work with so many different people. And if one thing doesn't go well, you're not going to close on a home. And so because you have multiple moving pieces, if you aren't on top of it, it can easily go very wrong, and a transaction can go very wrong. So it's been crazy. And now it's kind of like, okay, there's another change happening where now more inventory are starting to open up, but there's price adjustments, lower pricing that have maybe been listed too high or too competitive. Those you see that are coming down, and then also interest rates too. So it's a very unstable market. And I think having a career in an unstable market, you never know how long it's going to be good for. You don't know how long it's going to be bad for. But I think the good thing is it's not a housing bubble. I think a lot of people were like afraid, oh my gosh, are we going to hit another housing bubble like we did in 2008? But it's not like that. And, what's interesting about Georgia is, surprisingly, with the pandemic and the permanent work from home positions being more established, a lot more people are actually moving to Georgia. And so a lot of people from the West Coast, California, Seattle, a lot of people from the North, New York, a lot of them are moving to Georgia because the cost of living, how much house you can get here, is still a lot more affordable than some of these places outside of Georgia.
Yes.
And so we've had an influx of newcomers, out-of-staters to Georgia, and that's also what's driving up the demand of these homes. And so not only has home pricing overall have gone up, but also this is kind of where we should have been before the pandemic. It's just the pandemic just kind of heightened everything.
Yeah.
So it's been very challenging, but you know, that's what realtors do, is we roll with the punches, and you know, it takes a lot of wine.
Oh man, and that tough skin,
it's more
man.
so just staying composed. It's staying composed. It's being aware of the market, having a market knowledge, and reassuring, you know, clients that we've got you. You know, we're going to take care of you guys.
Yeah.
As unstable as things might be, as crazy as it might be, if we as the realtors or real estate agents can't be composed, then it would just be crazier. Right. So, I think it's intense, but that's the joy of this industry. It's not a solid, steady thing, but you roll with it. You just keep going.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like that kind of career. I don't know if I could handle it, but I know there would be a lot of people that would probably love it as much as it sounds like you do. Sylvia, what do you like the most about being a real estate agent?
I love because every home is different. I love finding the right home for somebody. The emotions, the expressions, after looking for multiple homes, after putting offers in, and then they're like, this is my home. Just to be able to provide a home for somebody, I love it. I love that experience. And I think for us, it keeps us to be creative in our ways to, you know, what can we do better for our buyer or seller to have a successful transaction. And I just love the whole experience. As chaotic it can be, I do love just the feeling of someone calling home their home. And so it's just it's oftentimes it's like my sister's a midwife. It's like she often gets to deliver babies, you know, so it's like a happy ending, whereas even for us it's like ultimately they get a home. And so I think that's what I really love about it.
It's a different kind of baby.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, what do you like the least?
What do I like the least? You have to be on your A game all the time. And
that's exhausting.
Yeah, it does. You have to wear multiple hats all the time. And I think a lot of the times we work when other people are not working.
Sure, so,
you know, you don't get the 9 to 5 hours. You work more than 40 hours. And so for us, it's kind of that. And then also the stress management, you know, of other people. You just really have to have thick skin, and you can't just wear your emotions on your sleeve. And maintaining a professional, you know, composure, but also wearing all these hats to juggle everything.
Oh man. No, I mean, now that you say that, like, I'm thinking back to like when we first put in an offer on this house, and even like if we were going back and forth on the phone, even I think at like 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Like, so even you saying that, like, you're working through the night, probably stressing about in the morning, am I going to be able to, you know, make this offer through? And then like, I cried at my closing because something went wrong.
Oh no, yeah.
And we almost lost the house, but then I think me crying, the owner felt empathetic.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And they were like, okay, like, let's wait till tomorrow. Something happened with our, I forget. Something didn't go through. But anyways, it was just like, I was so, like, so many emotions. Like, just, and I remember my agent just being like, it's going to work out. It's going to get, it's fine. And, you know, a lot of things are on the line, like you said. And then they're like my counselor and also like my...
So we do work a therapist hat. We often, I mean, people fight because, a couple
Yeah.
might have a different taste in homes.
Oh
And
man.
so it is, I think that would be the challenge, is the stress management
Yeah.
and just composure.
Oh wow. Gosh.
But it's still fun. Like,
I
it's
know,
so
I know.
fun.
I know. I'm sure it is so much fun. And I
Yeah.
feel like even just that would be enough for me,
Yeah.
like what you said, like if they found the right home. Because
Yeah.
truly, as somebody, like just a person that has their own family too, like it becomes more than just like walls, and you
Yes.
start imagining a life in the home
Yeah.
that you find. So I get what you're saying. I completely
Yeah.
get it.
And the greatest compliment for me is when a client, after closing, after a couple months, are like, Sylvia, I love this home. I love this home. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yay! Or, we
Yeah.
even help with investment properties too. So even if it is investment properties or resale properties or even new construction properties,
Mhm.
we do all of that. And
Mhm.
so we
Mhm.
help buy and sell all of those kinds of properties. And, whether it's an investment, whether it's a new construction home, whether it's a resale home. We do
Yeah.
anything that pertains to a purchase of a home.
Yeah.
So,
I love it.
and I like it because every home is different. And even if two exact homes were built exactly the same, the inside decor, how people live is so different. Like,
Right,
you'll
right.
never get the exact same home. And there's just so much creativity that you can do with
Mhm.
this, being a realtor. And you have to be creative, but you also have to be business savvy, and you have to be willing to win for your clients, because if
Yeah.
not, then this isn't the industry for
That's so
you.
crazy, the creative side of it. I never thought about it like that, but I
Mhm.
guess. And I feel like, wow, like truly how your life has been set up until now, like the creative side of you and your personality has, I'm sure, really contributed to how you do your job now
Yeah.
too. That's so
And
cool.
the creative process, it really entails, like, some people can't even see past, what that decor looks like, or they're like, oh, I don't like this wall. You could take it down. Some people can't see that, so
Yeah,
just to be able to
that's me.
paint.
I don't see it.
For some people, if you can just help picture, just how this house can be a home for them,
Mhm.
it really helps them. And it helps them
Mm.
envision, like, oh, yeah, I can see this being my home rather than just a house.
Yeah, that
And
makes sense.
so I think that's where the creativity process comes in. Even when we sell homes, we stage homes. So we make sure that the home isn't just a complete blank slate, so that
Mhm.
people can relate. And so, yeah, just there's so many creative processes in being a real estate agent. So
Mm.
it just helps me really bring both sides
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, that's amazing. Um, well, I feel like you've given a lot of great pieces of advice, but is there anything that maybe you can think of that you didn't already say that you could give advice to somebody that is considering going
Real
into real
estate.
estate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, to be honest, I'm very thankful that I was able to start my real estate career in a team. I think if
Mm.
you were to just be a real estate agent on your own, it's very hard because there's just so much to learn. And to have that support, to have that mentorship, to have additional knowledge and eyes is really, really helpful.
Mm.
And it makes it last longer. And
Mm.
so I would advise to, if you were interested in real estate or to be a realtor, then to start off on a team, learn, and learn what it means to be a good agent and a bad agent, and ways to continue to grow. Because I feel like if you do it on your own in the beginning, it can be very challenging
Mm.
and almost debilitating, because there's just so much to know and learn. So I would really say to join a team.
Mm. That's really good to know. I um have never thought about it, but it's good to know that. No, because
Yeah.
David, like he's considered it too. He's
Yeah.
a he's an engineer, but like
Oh
he
yeah.
really enjoys that. And then, but then he's not really good at the like extroverted stuff like that you would have to do. So he's like, like when the kids are old enough, maybe we should consider it. I'm like, no, I can't do it. I can't
You'd
do
be
it.
great.
But then like
You're extroverted.
that kind of information, like being on a team, like it's less daunting is what it is.
Yes, it really is.
It's less daunting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, okay. Well, Sylvia, thank you so much for your time. I feel like I could chat with you about this for another couple hours, but I'm not going to do that with you. I'm not going to do that to you. But I always put people on the spot and I ask them, are you okay with maybe somebody reaching out if they have more questions about real
absolutely.
estate?
Yeah, absolutely. They can reach out if they have any questions or if they want any market analysis. Let me know anytime.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sylvia. So you guys, if you have more questions for Sylvia or even questions about this episode, feel free to reach out to me through DM or you can email me at podcastwigu@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, guys. Until next time. Bye, Sylvia. Bye, guys.
Bye.